Peace, peace, peace. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who don't know, it's your boy Vic Slaying Hope. I got another video for y'all. This is like an addition to like the deception of street life and gang life, right? And maybe I should make this into like a little series or something, or just have like different parts to it, because it's just so deep. And I don't think a lot of people realize like what's really going on, because they're surviving and they got a lot of stuff to do, specifically parents. But your kids ain't safe out there. They really not. And this is coming from a place of love. This is coming from a place of understanding of where I was at one point, and navigating the streets and running around wild with my head cut off. But your kids, your children are not safe in the streets, both men and women. And I'm not talking about stray bullets. I'm not talking about the government. I'm not talking about the things that might automatically pop, the police. I'm not talking about these things that might automatically pop into your mind. But I'm talking about men who are predators. Men who, and now I'm not here to kind of like try to discuss how they became predators or why they are predators, which is an important conversation. I think a lot of these things are just a cycle, right? But there are men out there who are waiting for you, the parent, to mess up. And a lot of y'all already messed up, but they are waiting for you to mess up, and they are waiting in the streets with open arms and hands for your children. And I'm gonna get into it. Because none of this stuff happens by choice, right? For example, and I'm gonna talk about the young ladies first, or I don't know which one should I go, young men, young ladies. The young ladies, for example, there's a lot of older men who sit around and prey on younger women. They sit around and they literally prey on younger women. They try to talk to these younger chicks, and I think it's a problem. When I was growing up, the younger chicks used to have this thing in their mindset that it was cool to date an older man, right? And sometimes these girls will be teenagers dating grown-ass men. They'll be like 15 dating a 24-year-old. I knew a girl that she was like 13 dating a like 28-year-old. That's not cool. That's not cool. If you're a young lady and you ever get to watch this, you probably not. But if you do, that's not cool. These dudes are literally taking advantage of young women. They're literally taking advantage of them. They know they're at a vulnerable state when you're younger, just like the men. A lot of our young men, they are at a vulnerable state when they are young. And this is why these OGs recruit these type of young boys. They don't care about you. And I can say this so many times, man. They don't care about you. Listen to the music of some of these artists. Lil Durk literally said in one of his verses, he said, he said something about, I get my youngins to shoot you for a pair of Jordans. Listen to what these dudes are saying in their music. Polo G, he also made a reference like, I get the young boys. I call the young boys to deal with you, to kill you, to do this. They are sacrificing your children to the state, literally. And these are the men I cannot respect. I could understand a young man who is being influenced and is being led in a wrong direction. But when you grow up to a certain age and you start feeding these young men and these young women into the system, when you start feeding them into the streets, I can't respect that. I can't respect you as a man. I just can't. There's so many different rappers that say that, right? I get the young boys. I get the young boys. I remember way back when Jim Jones say, and if the gun boys are hurt you, you're lightweight, I get the young boys to murder you, right? It's so many rap lyrics where these individuals, these grown men, are telling you, they're literally telling you in their music that they are sacrificing your kids. They telling you, like, we're going to get the young boys. They are disposable. I was one of those young men that was disposable myself. And I'm telling you, I'm not some dude that was just a member and I was not doing stuff. I meant to say son and stuff at the same time. But I'm not some individual that was just sitting on a bench and never got in the game. I'm telling you what I used to recruit people. And I think it's messed up because sometimes that certain people didn't even deserve it, right? You got some individuals that are of the mindset, oh, we got strength in numbers. So they just recruit anybody. They just throw anybody into the streets because they just weren't about swelling up the numbers. And you got some individuals, they care more about getting tough people, right? But regardless of what, They still preying on your children. They still preying on them. I remember one time, a dude in the set tried to tell another member that was younger than him when the cops came, and he had a gun on him. He was like, yo, hold the gun down. He tried to give him the gun. Because you're a little homie. Take the gun. Take this charge. You're only going to get probation. You'll be out. They setting up your kids for failure. They're getting them charges. They're getting them felonies. They setting them up. This is the cycle of this shit. So now your kids grow up with a felony and you become damn near a second-class citizen. You can't get certain licenses. You can't get certain jobs. I'm not saying that you can't be successful, but there's already barriers on black people as it already is. And I'm not making that an excuse either, right? Because, you know, I don't want to have the pessimistic mindset. But we already know there's barriers coming from where we come from, struggling as we struggle. And then you add in a felony to your jacket? Come on, man. And a lot of the young men don't think about that. And I say this all the time. Had I known the implications behind copping out, I would have took my chances at trial. Because what's the sense of getting less time if it's still going to be hard, right? What's the sense of coming home sooner if you still going to feel like you in a cage? That's just my opinion. That's how I look at things. I'd rather take my chances fighting if I knew all the hurdles and all the obstacles and all the barriers I was going to have to jump through. If I knew that when I was that age, I would have never took the time that I did. I would have never, I would have definitely fought to the end. And it is what it is, but your children are out there. And a lot of times, and this is why I always stress on the parents, and I know I don't want to just put the blame on the parents, but a lot of times parents know you can't take care of this kid. And I'm telling you because I really care. Like, I see it on the news all the time. Mothers talking about, my son was a good kid. He didn't mess with nobody. He didn't do anything. You don't know what your child is like when he leaves the house. I was one of those kids. My mother never knew I was in the gang. I'm trying to tell you. My mother never knew. She had no idea that I was gangbanging. No idea. She lost control of me. No father in the house. It's only so much that a woman could do with her teenage son, let alone her teenage daughters. Your daughters get to a certain age where they think they grown. You lose control of them. Your sons get to a certain age where you lose control. And then my mother wasn't buying me the shit that I needed. She wasn't buying me the stuff that I wanted. So what happens with that? You go into the streets. You go do certain things. And I'm not blaming the parents again, but I'm just telling you, you need to pay a little closer attention to your kids. You need to pay a little closer attention to what is going on with your kids. Who are their friends? What are they doing? Because this shit is ugly out here. Dudes is waiting to pimp your daughters to sell them. That's what they do. That's what the gang does. A lot of chicks begin smashed in to become members of gangs. Some women don't even fight. They just smash maybe like a few members and they part of the gang. And a lot of times, sometimes the gang try to use them to prostitution. They try to prostitute these women. And even if they not in the gang, dudes be always looking for runaway girls to put on the track. They're always waiting for that broken chick. I'm telling you. And that's why I put a little more emphasis. Yes, there's stuff that the government could do, all the way down to the parents, right? It's a lot of stuff going on in our communities, but your kids are being taken advantage. These dudes are waiting for your children. They're waiting for kids to come from broken home. They're at the basketball parks recruiting your kids. They outside of the schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are around. And the parks be like the main places, because a lot of parks usually be controlled by some type of gang or whatever. Housing projects, whatever, right? Turf is controlled by somebody at some point. The police notice. So this is not information that I'm giving that is new. The police notice. When I got locked up and I told them I used to play basketball at this park, it was like, oh yeah, the Crip Park. The police know. So I'm telling you, man, the parents gotta pay close attention to your kids. I hear the stories all the time that your son was a good kid. He didn't mess with nobody. Yet people were looking for him to kill him for no reason because he didn't mess with nobody. because he didn't have nothing to do with nothing. He just went to school, mind his business. You know how many other kids really mind their business and go to school and they're never into some type of situations like this? I'm just saying. Sometimes I know it's hard to hear that when you lose a child, but you have to think about it. I talk about Junior's situation, right? Sometimes I don't really like talking about people that died, but think about this. Mistaken identity when people were up close on you. Mistaken identity, shooting from a vehicle, maybe. They don't really know you. That's one thing. But up close on you, I don't know. I don't know, man. Some people say Junior was in the gang too. But my whole thing is this. The media is always going to paint a narrative of a victim and a perp. Because the moment you say two gang members was going at each other and one died, nobody cares. Nobody cares. The jury not gonna care. The district attorney, it looks bad. So you know what they do? They paint the picture of good kid versus bad kid. That way it's easier to prey on the emotions of people to convict the bad kid. But in all reality, they both victims of the environment. Then that's really what it is. They both victims of the same narrative. You know, a lot of times the hood forces your kids, us men, it forces us to become the way that we are. And I think that's foul. We deserve to live in neighborhoods where kids shouldn't have to pick up weapons to protect themselves, because they are savages in the community that are trying to hold it in a chokehold. I think that's messed up. And I think that's the saddest thing, right? When you see these children who were nice kids at first, and then they become savages because of the environment that they live in. It's a sad thing. It's a very, very sad thing. So it's so many ways to combat this. It don't look like the government gonna step in and help us out. But I'm just asking the parents, man, pay attention to your children, because there are men out there waiting to exploit your daughters, take advantage of them, break their little hearts, use and abuse their bodies, especially in them young years. And it's hard to bounce back from certain things after it's done to you in your young years. It's hard. That's why a lot of these women become promiscuous, because some older dude took advantage of them. Some older dude broke them in, right? It's sickening when I think about these things, man. When I hear some of these dudes that they like going after the younger chicks, like, it's sickening. It's rapey. They take advantage of these young, gullible women. They break them in. They take advantage of them. And then these women grow up to be heartbroken, bitter, unstable. It's just a cycle, man. It's just a setup. It's a messed up setup. It's a messed up setup. You know, dudes back in the days, they always used to prey on girls that were in group homes to become prostitutes, because they're already broken. They're already broken. You know what I'm saying? They prey on certain people in the foster care system. These are the people that end up in prisons oftentimes. The system, everything is rigged. Everything is rigged, and I think it's messed up, man. Like, I just think it's sad that these things are happening to these kids. And I can't make excuses for these men. I know it's a cycle, but at some point, somebody gotta be like, nah, what I was doing was wrong. You know, I think about it too. I used to recruit dudes to be in the gang, and that shit was fucked up, because I knew sometimes, you know, like, yo, he not built for that. You know, but hopefully we get better. I think we all want the same things. We all want our neighborhoods to be safer. We all want people to stop preying on our children, but we just gotta do a little more for our children. We gotta think about that when we have these kids and who we having them with, that we're gonna have to be there for our kids to the best of our ability. And we should not be excusing like, oh, well, you know, I work this many. Nah, we have to. This is how important it is. We have to be in their lives. So hopefully I said something that was beneficial. If you like the content, make sure you share it, make sure you like it so it can circulate. And let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Peace.